Hey everyone, I'm MyBigBlaze and today I'll go over one of the best builds in the game, Flay Barb. This build is so strong and with the highest single target damage in the game. If you like the bleed setup while doing big numbers, this build is for you. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. Let's start. So first of all, I suggest you do not level with this build. There is better and faster leveling bar builds like Dust Devil and Up Evil. I link them down in the description. You can start transition to this build at around level 80 and of course in the end game. How does this build works? I will not call this build a beginner friendly, but it's pretty easy to understand. We use Flay as our bleed generator and Rupture when we want to instantly deal the total bleed damage to the enemy. Rupture explodes in a large area and it's our AoE ability, and it also gives us 40% attack speed for 5 seconds. The Flay build uses the legendary power Wanton Rupture, so we can use Rupture without removing the bleed from the enemy. On single target, it's really important to use Rupture only every 13 seconds or more to not remove the bleed from the enemy. If you don't use Wanton on your two-hand weapon, you need to use Rupture every 25 seconds to not remove the bleed. The best way to use Rupture is when you see the golden border around the skill. This is when it's safe to use without removing the bleed from the enemy. Pay attention cause you still have this golden border for 5 seconds after you use it because of the 40% attack speed it gives you. Another synergy we use in this build is with the unique chest Rage of Paragon. When we bleed an enemy, we have a chance to reduce the cooldown on our abilities. This synergy requires some understanding, but when you get it, this synergy is amazing. On AoE you basically have no CD on your skills, and on single target most boss fights have some adds so you can take advantage and reduce the CD. As for our gear, I link the build planner with everything you need to know in the description. My gear, I use helmet, Harlequin crest, masterworking on cooldown reduction at least 2 times. Chest is Rage of Paragon. If you can masterwork the damage reduction from bleeding enemy at least 2 times, it will be great. On the gloves, I use the legendary power Edge Master with the modifiers critical strike chance and vulnerable damage as greater affix. The third one is attack speed. Chest is Iron Warrior because I use the Iron Skin. So it gives us Iron Skin grants unstoppable and 35% damage reduction. Our boots, I use Hectics to reduce the CD on our skill. I use Strength and Resistance as greater affix for the resistances, of course. My two-hand mace is Moonrise. Maximum life and vulnerable damage as greater affix. If you can get strain and vulnerable damage as greater affix, it's better because it's soft score and we need the damage more than the survival. On our first one hand, I use rapid greater. I have greater affix on strain, maximum life and vulnerable. If you can get strain and vulnerable, maximum life, it's low priority. On the second one hand, I use inner calm. My greater affix is maximum life and vulnerable. Again, strength and vulnerable, it's better. On our two-hand polem, we use Wanton Rupture. As you can see, we use polem for this specific build. There is some builds, Flay builds that use Grandfather. On this one, we use the polem for the damage to injured enemies, and we use the Wanton Rupture. As you can see, greater affix on strength and critical strike damage. If you can get strength and vulnerable, it's better. On 2 rings is attack speed, critical strike chance and vulnerable. Greater affix on critical strike chance and vulnerable damage. One ring is with elements and the second one is with bold chieftain, and our amulet is with adaptability, greater affix on cut to the bone. If you can get two greater affix with cut to the bone and critical strike chance, it's better. The third affix should be heavy-handed, attack speed, cooldown reduction. It's the same, it's not the same, but you can play with it if you have the gold to get the amulet, the right amulet. Of course, our expertise is 2 and X expertise for the increased vulnerable damage. Next one is our skill tree. I'll go over quickly on it. The full build planner is in the description if you want to check it out. If it's your first time playing Barb, I suggest you go over it slowly and understand the skill tree and the Paragon. So we go with Flay, Enhanced Flay and Battle Flay for the increased bleeding damage. I go with Iron Skin, Enhanced Iron Skin and Tactical for the healing. If you want, and actually it's better to go with Rallying Cry when you farming the pit because of the movement speed. So you can remove Iron Skin, take Rallying Cry and this node for the Fortify. If you go with Rallying Cry, I suggest you remove some points, maybe Slaying Strike, and take Raid Leader for the increased healing, because you don't have a lot of healing without Iron Skin. Next is Outburst and Tough as Nails. I use 2 points on those skills for the damage reduction we get from the Paragon. Warcry, you can use some points on Warcry. I use some points for the damage. You can remove them, use 1 point in Warcry and use the rest of the points wherever you want. Booming Voice, Guttural Yell. The rest is pretty basic. You can go on the skill tree, but we have Slaying Strike. You can remove this if you don't want it. And we go heavy-handed 3 points. And of course we go with Gushing Wounds. I want to talk about Gushing Wounds quickly. When causing an enemy to bleed, you have a chance equal to your critical strike chance to increase the bleed amount by X of your critical strike damage bonus. This is why it's important we have critical strike chance and critical strike damage. Critical strike chance, we need to be above 70%, the more the merrier, 80%. Critical strike damage, we need to be above 2000, but we need first to fix the vulnerable damage because of hemorrhage. We need to be above 900%. If you can get vulnerable damage above 1000%, it's the best and you will have a lot of damage. So vulnerable damage above 1000%. When you get above 900%, you can start and play with it and put some modifiers on critical strike damage. When we talk about the Paragon boards, there is 2 important nodes for our gameplay that we need to know about. The first important node is Blood Rage. Blood Rage gives us increased damage by up to 13% during Berserking buff. It's really important to get this bonus, so try and tweak your Paragon board to support it. I recently changed some stuff, so I need to fix my Paragon to get the 30% bonus. You can use Tempering and get the damage while Berserking on your end to reach this 30% goal. The second important node is Hemorrhage. Basically, we are doing more bleeding damage the more vulnerable damage bonus we have. This is why we go vulnerable damage on our gear, and you should aim for above 900%, ideally 1000%. Again, the build planner is in the description for the full Paragon board. You can make adjustment and change it depending on your needs. For example, you can take resistances if you need to, or take some berserking nodes if you need to reach the 30% blood rate. If you don't, you can remove it and take some life nodes and some other nodes to increase your damage or survivability. Overall, this build is really strong to push the pit and to do tormented bosses. I really like it and I plan to reach higher levels of the pit. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this build. You can also check my Twitch channel. I'll be live 3 to 4 nights a week from 6 PM GMT. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace.